Shalom, shalom, and welcome. Welcome to the White Rose Family Channel. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present before an awakening, set-apart nation. But before I get into this message, I want to say to you, the views expressed in these words and these messages do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, managers, shareholders, and or sponsors. With that said, let's get started. The Final Exodus, Countdown 2023, December 21st, 2023. It is my belief, O Yashar'al, that we will witness the realities of the Final Exodus, being freed from captivity, drawn to the promised land, return to our homeland. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, I am referring to Hebrews and Gentiles, Abraham and Goyim, Goyim meaning other nations, those who are drawn by the Almighty Creator, Yahuah, who is the beginning and the end, to Yahushua Mashiach, His word that we represent, that we mention, that we embrace, His word known as Yahusha, knowing that Yahuah and Yahushua are one, for Yahusha reflects the word of Yahuah. With that said, O Yashar'al, within the series Final Exodus Countdown 23, I have stated before that occasionally in the queue, in the lineup of messages that I have to bring before you, occasionally there are things that are brought up to interject in that queue, and I call them bulletins. And when you see the red stop sign, know this, that is a bulletin, something of grave importance. My brothers and sisters, uncertainty is swelling, enlarging before our very eyes. Civil unrest, wars and rumors of wars, battles, famine, pestilence, disease, lawlessness. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, all of what we witness that is not within the scope of what we are ordered to focus on and do, I consider those things of the outer court. Outside the set-apart family of Yashar'al, there are things going on, there are things being said that does not concern us. And it is so easy to get off focus, get off task in many ways, and for whatever reason, we use various excuses to justify not waiting to discern and identify what the Spirit of Yahuah is saying in Yahushua's name. In this segment, during a time of prayer, I believe that the Spirit of Yahushua said to me, present to my children, to prepare to define quarantines, be able to identify the difference between set apart and wicked quarantines. Be able to understand that a quarantine could be to keep something inside or to keep something out. It is important, O Yashar'al, that in the coming days ahead, as things get intense, that we begin to recognize the need to start coming together, forging together, identify the set-apart children of Yashar'al in your locale, in your community, or in the next. If you're in California, look at Nevada and Arizona. If you're in Nevada, Arizona, look at Missouri, Iowa, various Midwestern states. So from the western coastline of North America to the Midwest, towards the East Coast. Look at who is the closest and who after that. Become familiar with those who are truly set apart. Not saying they're Yashar'al just because they are Hebrew, for not all Yashar'al is of Yashar'al, as the scriptures present before us. Not all Hebrews are set apart Hebrews. They may be Hebrews by race. They may be Yashar'al by race. But if they are not among those chosen by the Almighty Father, drawn by Him to Yahushua Mashiach, if they are not those among the set-apart family, these are not our brothers and sisters. Our brothers and sisters are those who do the will of the Almighty Father. Soon and very soon, O Yashar'al, as the government seeks answers, as news media, as they present strategies for these massive pandemics that are popping up, diseases that are popping up, lawlessness that's running rampant and enlarging. As the government began to look for answers and introduce plausible solutions based on their best knowledge, I believe that they will soon start talking about quarantining people, putting people in quarantine, whether it be those who have fit one description versus another, in a way to begin to collect and entrap. But I also believe, O Yashar'al, that the Spirit of Yahuah will gather his children. As the wheels of Ezekiel take formation, we will begin to come together and forge protective barriers around the children of Yashar'al as we begin to move in the direction that we are called to move to fulfill the final exodus. And I say often that I believe I am charged with contributing towards the gathering of Yashar'al in the Western Hemisphere. Prepare to define quarantines from set apart to the wicked. Come with me, O Yashar'al. There are two types of fear. Choose only one. Two types of fear. Let me read the following. Come with me to Proverbs 1:7, O set apart family. It reads, the fear of Yahuah is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. There's a fear of Yahuah. That fear is a fear to not be overzealous, over anxious, quick to respond, quick to speak, quick to do things. That's a fear to pause to say, Abba Yahuah, my Father, in the name of Yahuah, in the name of Yahusha, your word, what should I do? How should I respond? What actions must I take? When to be still? When to move? When to be silent? That fear of Yahuah gives pause so we do not respond erratically or out of place. That's the fear that we should have, O Yashar'al, knowing how to vet and examine all things so that we may present ourselves as the Father would have us. And out of our obedience, we lift up Yahusha, and we witness John 12:32 be fulfilled when it says, if he be lifted up, he will draw all men to himself. To the word of Yahuah, we will be drawn out of our obedience. But there's another fear. Consider Matthew 10:26-33. For it reads, therefore do not fear them, for whatever is covered shall be revealed, whatever is hidden shall be made known. What I say to you in the dark, speak in the light, and what you hear in the ear, proclaim on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but able to kill the being. But rather fear him who is able to destroy both being and body in Gehenna. Are not two sparrows sold for a copper coin, and not one of them falls to the ground without your Father? Even the hairs of your head are numbered. So do not fear, you are worth more than many sparrows. Everyone therefore who shall confess me before men, him I shall also confess before my Father who is in the heavens. But whoever shall deny me before men, him I shall also deny before my Father who is in the heaven. Two types of fear. There's a fear of what man can do, and there's the fear of Yahuah. I hear people talk often, my brothers and sisters, about I don't fear anything, but they don't qualify or quantify. They don't say, I don't fear the things that man can do to me, but I fear Yahuah. And what this does is it causes people to say, I'm not afraid. I'm not fearing anything. I'm not fearing. Yah going to take care of me. But yet, we don't see the fear of Yahuah, the hesitancy, the pause, the quickness of prayer to respond in obedience, whether it be out of discipline or whether it be out of refinement and perfection as we grow in maturity. Know this, O Yashar'al, perception will influence how we choose to define fear. And as man began to establish their quarantines, watch and pray, as the will of Ezekiel can be misidentified as a quarantine, to keep the set-apart children within the boundaries, the parameter of Ezekiel's wills, as we move from one point to the next and the wheels start merging, wheels inside of wheels, with messengers from the Almighty Father guarding and present with us. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, don't perceive everything as wrong. Ask questions. Ask who's setting up the quarantine and for what purposes and how long. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, pray and watch. For in the narrative of things, there are many ways in which things are described. Many answers, some set apart, some just to buy time, as in kicking the can down the road. It will influence how we choose to define fear. But let us pray, O Yashar'al. Let us pray and seek to discern the leaders, the teachers, the mores, the pastors, the bishops, the priests that are chosen by the Almighty Father. In the name of Yahusha, coming to us with the instructions and guidance. Pray and prepare to witness as we work together one towards another. Yashar'al, my encounter during prayer led me to believe that there will be a quarantine battle. There will be fighting, struggles, as the word quarantine rise up across the face of the earth. No matter what country you're in, at some point we will hear the word quarantine. And there will be a battle as to what constitutes the quarantines of a government versus the quarantine that the Almighty Father has to protect us. Our quarantine will be the formation and structure of Ezekiel's wheels, O Yashar'al. Ask questions, vet, seek to discern. There are ways to identify what the Almighty Father is saying to us in the name of Yahusha. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. The encounter I had was the Almighty Father showing me these battles, these quarantine battles, these fights, mislabels, misunderstanding. You see, there are things the Almighty Father Yahuah gives us in the name of Yahusha. And those who are obedient, when we present definition and understanding, there are those among us, misled and undiscerning leaders, shepherds, pastors, mores. There are some that are undiscerning that will misdiagnose the actions of a set-apart quarantine. Give it different labels to scare you away. Yashar'al, Yashar'al, we will be gathered before the physical return of Yahushua Mashiach, in spite of any wicked narratives or instructions someone is saying. We're not going to just be beamed together as soon as Yahushua returns and then we just all just beamed right to the promised land and right to Mount Sinai. No, there's a journey that has begun and it will ramp up. Over the coming days ahead, we will begin to see things take shape. Forced migrations are coming. Are you not aware? Many years ago, people talked about FEMA camps, strategically placed in areas of the United States that they call divisions. They did numbered divisions. These camps still exist. Know their purpose and for whom. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, to those who are obedient, to those who move, we will find ourselves gathering in massive numbers of which no man can stop or prevent. But to the unbelieving, to the undiscerning, to the disobedient, to those led astray, the FEMA camps await you. And you will find yourselves among many, mixed with others, and quarantined for reasons that is believed by the government to be the best mode, the best actions to take in the midst of all the uncertainty, in the midst of destruction that will ramp up. Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, it's time. It's time to take these realities, discuss them, talk about what you believe the Almighty Father is saying to you. Vet and examine. When people say, well, the Most High told me this, or Yah told me that, or in my Ruach, whatever narrative someone presents to you, vet and examine it. And trust that the Almighty Father will make clear and make known what is true. Come with me, O Yashar'al, as I want you to remember these words that I read. Come with me to Matthew 24, 4 and 5. For it reads, Matthew 24, 4 and 5 says, and Yahushua answering said to them, take heed that no one leads you astray, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. The quarantine battle, my brothers and sisters, if you're in the wrong quarantine, if you're caught up and corralled with people outside the court, with people outside the Ezekiel wheels, the structure and formations of set-apart Yashar'al, if you're corralled in that, that's a quarantine that you will find unpleasant and painful. Drop down to the 23rd verse, Matthew 24, 23 through 25. It says, if anyone then says to you, look, here is the Messiah, or there, do not believe, for false messiahs and false prophets shall arise, and they shall show great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the chosen ones. See, I have forewarned you. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, there will be many ways in which we will witness something akin to a tug of war, pulling and grabbing and forcing us, in some cases, to be where we should not be. Make no mistake, the Almighty Father will have a word, even among those corralled and quarantined, among those in the outer court. It may be a situation where the Almighty Father is preparing your table in the midst of your enemy to proclaim the news of set-apartness and the coming of Yahushua Mashiach as it relates to his return. Regarding the rise of the Antichrist, or some will say the anti-Messiah and false prophet, we must be mindful there is a restrainer. Come with me to 2 Thessalonians, O Yashar'al, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 5 through 12. Hear these words, my brother, my sister, my family. It says, do not remember that I told you this while I was still with you. And now you know what restrains for him to be revealed in this time. Talking about the anti-Messiah or Antichrist. The secret of lawlessness is already at work. My brothers and sisters, if you doubt that, look around. Lawlessness is getting rampant. Some may even say crazy, undiscernible. What do you think is happening, O Yashar'al? It says the secret of lawlessness is already at work. But it says here, only until he who now restrains come out of the midst. You see, the Antichrist, the anti-Messiah and false prophets, those who lead the world as being led by Hashatan or Satan, they know that they cannot take their full position until he who restrains come out of that midst. That means, right, my brothers and sisters, we are at the cuspus. We are at the tipping point where the final exodus will prove to remove the set-apart children of Yahuah to the promised land, so that the mark of the beast, the Antichrist and false prophet, can fulfill what has been said that will occur as they are led by the wicked one. But the mark of the beast in its fullness, the anti-Messiah, will not rise to its full office until he who restrains come out. And this is not talking about a rapture, my brothers and sisters. This is talking about the final exodus. The 8th verse, I'm in 2 Thessalonians 2nd chapter. And then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the workings of Satan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, and with all deceit of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth in order for them to be saved. And for this reason, the Almighty One sends them a working of delusions for them to believe the falsehood, in order that all should be judged who did not believe the truth, but have delighted in unrighteousness. Hear these words, O set apart Yashar'al. We are the restrainer. And as you see the infrastructure being shaped, as you see the end time prophecies become more clear and widely present before us, know that the restrainer must be removed. That is us, O Yashar'al. And using the formation of the Ezekiel wheels, recognizing the 144,000, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Yashar'al, as mentioned in Revelation 7, as well as a great multitude which no man can number. Together, we will be assembled and move towards the promised land. It's a battle, O Yashar'al, but it's a battle that we will witness those who will be victorious. My brothers and sisters, be advised, the propaganda, news from the world is their response to end time prophecies. You're not going to see, you are less likely to see precise instruction over the news or by government officials. So they will forge and create their propaganda. They will change it. They will tweak it. They will put blames and excuses and various reasons, and they will constantly come up with different words and ways and narratives to put a spin on it, to buy some time. But know this, O Yashar'al, in the midst of the propaganda and news from the world, as they respond to these end times, chosen leaders led by the Spirit of Yahusha will rise up, providing instructions. I say one of the instructions that I have provided and I speak of often is knowing how to vet, how to examine, how to focus, how to discern. And discernment is when the Spirit of Yahusha reveals. We cannot make him reveal to us. We can only yield, praying without ceasing, and yield to him and witness him revealing things to us or through us, one towards another. Yashar'al, or Yashar'al, the word quarantine, whether it's quarantines or separate, it's coming. Even by restricted travel is a means of quarantine. It's a means of keeping specific ones out as well as specific ones in. Regarding times of remaining inside, Yashar'al, you see, the word quarantine sometimes means stay put. And we will discover that within the wheels of Ezekiel, it will be as a set-apart quarantine in time to stay put, structured in a way in which you are protected. We are protected. Consider this, O Yashar'al. We become zealous, over anxious, too cocky, knowing that we serve the Almighty One, and we lose focus on paying attention to He who is the Almighty One. And that can lead to pain and regret. Here's an example when Yashar'al should have stayed put, and instead, out of over-eagerness, overconfidence, they moved thinking that they can do whatever they want to do. Come with me to Exodus, Yashar'al. Exodus chapter 12, verse 7 through 12. Exodus chapter 12, verse 7 through 12. For it reads, and they shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat. And they shall eat, I'm going to bring another one that I was talking about. So this, I want you to pay attention to this one here about remaining inside. And I will talk about another segment another passage that's related to this in a moment. So come with me to Exodus 12, verse 7 through 12. forgive me. And they shall take some blood and put it on 2 doorposts, and on the lintel of the house where they eat it. They shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire with unleavened bread, with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boil it at all with water, but roast it in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts. And do not leave it until morning, and what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire. And this is how you to eat it: your loins girded, your sandals in your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is the Pasach, or Passat. It's the Passover, my brothers and sisters, of Yahuah. And I shall pass through the land of Mitzrayim on that night, and shall strike all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both man and beast, and all the mighty ones of Mitzrayim I shall execute judgment. I am Yahuah. This was a time of Passover. It was a time to stay inside. It was a time to stay put. And the Almighty Father, as he revealed the life in this passage, he shared with me to remember this passage. For during such time, there were those who criticized Yashar'al and said, oh, they're under quarantine. They got to stay in the house. They can't come out to play. They can't come out to party. You see, those of the outer court, those who are undiscerning, will criticize the set-apart ones as we begin to forge closer to one another, as we begin to take the shape of Ezekiel's wheels, as we begin to take the shape of a set-apart nation coming together. There are those who will criticize it, call it a quarantine of such. Here's something else I would like to bring to your attention, O Yashar'al. To remember, if you have not read it, then take heed to the life in these words. Come with me to Jeremiah 1:8. It says, do not fear their faces, for I am with you to deliver you, declares Yahuah. Here's another passage. Drop down to the 19th verse. And they shall fight against you, but not prevail against you. For I am with you, declares Yahuah, to deliver you. You see, you may be in areas sometimes where you are confined. You may find yourself in quarantine of the wicked sense. But to those who will fulfill the final exodus, to those who will fulfill specific end-time tasks, never forget the power and might rests with Yahuah, the Almighty One, to deliver you, to deliver us. Be advised, O Yashar'al, the gathering process will sometimes require separation. Separation that could be misinterpreted as being in quarantine. Do not fall for the misinterpretations that some will do and present just to try to keep you under their feather, under their flock. There will be, yes, brothers and sisters, who are egotistical, self-righteous, undiscerning, who have stumbled and fallen. But they will be disciplined, some unto sickness, unto death. Some will be disciplined and rise up stronger than they've ever been. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, it would be wise to discern in or be among those who are able to define righteous protection versus wicked confinement. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, you might think that this has no importance, but a lot of things are happening, my brothers and sisters. I want to pose the question, could the metaverse be a component to people placed in quarantine? For I've seen, like young people had at one point in times past, discos, lounges, clubs, places of gathering, speed dating gatherings. I've seen where there will become sites where people will go to physically and grab a set of gargles and just lay back for hours on end, sometimes days, with just the minimum nutrition and get lost in the metaverse. A subtle quarantine. that many may not even think about. Could the metaverse be a component to people being placed in quarantine? Anything that captures your attention and captures you, whether it be with physical chains and restraints or spiritual, separates you from where you should be, O Yashar'al. Do not get caught up. Beware of such things. See, whether we say quarantined or captured and held, incarcerated or jailed or imprisoned, if it breaks your attention from the Almighty Father, if it breaks what you're supposed to be doing, Yashar'al, that battle is a quarantine battle. My brothers and sisters, speculations, insight, or warnings from the Spirit of Yahusha. As brothers and sisters, and even those outside the court who are perpetrating set-apartness, who seek to deceive us, or the unlearned, the undiscerning, they will judge the obedient and say, oh, you're just speculating, you don't have any proof. So are the words I present to you a speculation? Are we speculating? Or are these living warnings from the Spirit of Yahusha? We must learn to examine, how to vet, how to determine. Read Hebrews 11th chapter, and you will discover it's impossible to please the Almighty Father without belief. And that belief means He showed you something. He revealed something to you. We must believe. And we will grow and learn how to believe the things that we cannot see as of yet. Don't fall for the words of one saying a person is speculating because they are undiscerning. Yes, there are some speculating and grasping at what's going to happen and what may be happening. And there are some that have indeed been shown by the Spirit of Yahusha and are presenting warnings and instructions of what must be done. Yashar'al, it's time for us to come away from childish things. It's time for us to take serious what must be done. It's time for us to identify those who cause our cup to run over with set-apart instructions on what we must do. It's too much talk about what's going on and what people are doing. What are you being told that you should be doing? And with whom? Come, O Yashar'al, let us gather together. Let us vet and weed out the distractions. Let us focus on the Spirit of Yahuah. Let us be able to identify Him working in us, through us, one towards another. Let us not leave behind the power of atonement, knowing that we can, when we misstep, a simple forgiveness and repentant heart puts us under the blood of the Lamb, and we rise up anew, renewed by the power and might of Abba Yahuah. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, it would be wise to learn how to follow set-apart orders, how to vet. It would be wise to start engaging in conversation daily with those who are filling your cup up, with those that are encouraging you with set-apart words and instructions, whether they are feel-good words or words of severity. If they press into set-apartness, if they press you, me, us together, and set-apartness, let us be prepared to demonstrate the wisdom to learn how to follow set-apart orders, O Yashar'al. Come with me, my brothers and sisters. I'm going to read a passage from Ezekiel 34th chapter. Prepare to witness true deliverance. In the midst of quarantine, in the midst of all uncertainty, in the midst of the destruction that's coming, in the midst of pandemic, famine, plagues, and diseases, in the midst of tsunami, in the midst of soon to witness meteor showers hitting different parts of the earth, there will come true deliverance for the set-apart children of Yashar'al, to those whom the Almighty Father has chosen to fulfill His promise. Come with me to Ezekiel 34, 11 through 16, as I read 34, verse 11 through 16 of Ezekiel. For thus said the Master Yahuah, see, I myself shall search for my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeks out his flock on the day he is among his scattered sheep. So I shall seek out my sheep and deliver them from all the places where they were scattered in a day of cloud and thick darkness. As the Almighty Father seeks out his sheep, we can read that and say, okay, I understand that, I believe that, I even trust these words to be true. But how many of us are mindful of who the Father would use to speak through, to deliver the message, to present the actions of seeking out and gathering his sheep? So many people said, don't listen to what man can say. That's the scripture. That's what the word says. Don't listen to man and don't believe this man or that man. Yashar'al or Yashar'al. Those who say that without being specific lacks the maturity, the wisdom to qualify that. See, we're not supposed to trust what a man says and do based off of their own rationale. We are to discern, is it that man speaking or is it the Spirit of Yahusha speaking through that man? You see, those who quick to say that and don't qualify it and say there will be some men, women, and children that will speak as the Spirit of Yahuah gives them guidance. They don't qualify that. And they speak so boldly from a book that is most widely circulated on the planet with many translations, commonly known as the Bible or the scriptures. They speak so boldly that they believe that and they're a part of that. But yet, they fail to realize that every portion of the scriptures was the result of the Spirit of Yahuah inspiring each individual author of each component of the scriptures. He worked through a man, woman. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. We must understand deliverance is coming. And there will be those whom the Almighty Father will use that will come with the power and might behind them. True deliverance is coming. Now, as I gradually get to a close, oh Yashar'al, let me read Ezekiel 34:11-16. I pray that you are there. It reads, for thus saith the Master Yahuah, see, I myself shall search for my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeks out his flock on the day he is among his scattered sheep. So I shall seek out my sheep and deliver them from all the places where they were scattered in a day of cloud and thick darkness. And I shall bring them out from the people and gather them from the lands, and shall bring them to their own land. And I shall feed them on the mountains of Yashar'al, in the valleys, and in all the dwellings of the land. In good pasture I shall feed them, and their fold shall be on the high mountains of Yashar'al. They shall lie there in a good fold and feed in rich pastures on the mountains of Yashar'al. I shall feed my flock and make them lie down, declares the Master Yahuah. I shall seek out the lost and bring back the strayed. I shall bind up the broken and strengthen what was sick. But the fat and the strong I shall destroy. I shall feed them with right rulings. Deliverance is coming, O Yashar'al. Hear these words, my brothers and sisters. Identify those who speak with the voice of living waters that fill you up, that fill me up, that will fill us up. This is a result of the Spirit of Yahusha flowing through us, to us, and through us, one towards another. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. Pray and watch. Prayer is communication where we speak and we listen. And prayer without ceasing, my brothers and sisters, as we speak to one another, the Spirit of Yahusha that is within us will speak to us. And we will manage these earthen vessels. Our inward man will manage these earthen vessels. And we will speak the words of set apartness. We will fulfill the final exodus. We will fulfill what is ordered as it relates to martyrs for Yahusha's name. We will fulfill all that is ordered and all that is spoken. Some, it will be the set apart, the results of set apart obedience. Some, not so much. Pain and regret will come. Pray and watch. We will know the difference regarding quarantines as this word starts to surface. It may be packaged as imprisonment, jail, or to protect, or to prohibit or restrict travel. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. Begin to look at where you should move, with whom. Consider that gathering. Some people have already begun to move. But the final exodus will be in mass numbers. Millions of people will be gathered from the four corners of the earth. And I submit to you, O Yashar'al, though it will be millions, when you compare it to the whole world population, that comparison will only represent a remnant. Thus, as it states in Revelation 7 chapter, a great multitude, in 7:9, that great multitude will be large in numbers, but comparing it to the world population, it will be a remnant. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, prepare to define quarantines. From the order of the Almighty Father to shape and structure Yashar'al, and to the Ezekiel wheels that will come one into another, till we all reach that central point, which I believe is the true Mount Sinai, commonly known as Jabal al-Laws, Jabal al-Laws, is the true Mount Sinai, situated in the northwest quadrant of Saudi Arabia, which until most recent years is being opened up with limitations to the public for tourism. It is the set-apart mountain of Yahuah. It is the true and the greatest of all the mountains. It is Mount Zion. You see, Mount Zion means majestic mountain. Regardless of what somebody tell you, there are a lot of majestic mountains. That's why you see a lot of Mount Zions. But the Mount Zion, the ultimate and greatest of all mountains, set-apart mountain, is the mountain in which Moshe received the Ten Commandments. The mountains that had the tablets carved out of them by the hand of Yahuah and redone by Moshe as a result of him destroying them. Mount Sinai, the true Mount Sinai. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. And on the plateau of Mount Sinai will be the 144,000 singing a marvelous song. And around that mountain, spread out around that mountain, will be millions of set-apart ones, most of which will be children. Pray, O Yashar'al, prepare to define quarantines and whatever labels they use. Vet, examine, ask questions, seek to discern the leaders, the guides that are chosen by the Almighty Father to direct how we are to respond in the coming days ahead. Heed these words, O Yashar'al. My name is Symmanayah. I come to you in the name of Yahuah. I come to you in the name of Yahuah, his word, Yahushua Mashiach. In the name of Yahusha, hear these words, O Yashar'al. I pray for your strength and an ability to endure. I pray for good health. And I pray for you to have the strength to endure whatsoever state these earthen vessels are in. My prayer more than anything is that you're able to discern the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha and respond with expediency, whether it be to be still and stop or to move and act. On that note, I say to you, you who are of the set-apart family of Yashar'al, both Hebrews and Gentiles made one by Yahushua Mashiach, you who are my brothers, you who are drawn by the Almighty Yahuah to Yahusha, I say to you, much Shalum. And I end with that.